Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. If you guys have been following the flight sim news, you will know that Rex Atmos Core has released for Msfs 2024. This was one of the most promising add-ons for Msfs 2020, so my expectation was that it is going to do the same for 2024. And initially I was skeptical of it based on the photographs that I've seen on their Facebook page, and then also the reviews that had come out before the add-on release. So I did not have a lot of hopes, but it is just $7 for me because I already had the Atmos add-on for MSFS 2020. So I just went ahead and bought it anyway, and I was pleasantly surprised. It actually works. If you know what you're doing, it actually works. So I did not want to do a conventional review kind of thing. What I really want to do today is because I'm also a real world pilot, you will see that I have an image that I'd taken a while back. I think this was one of the days when the visibility was showing up as like 10 plus statute miles, and it was pretty much clear skies, variable winds, maybe like 6-7 knots, not too much. And we have almost similar, I can't really actually match the conditions, but we have very similar conditions in the sim here at Chicago right now as well. So what I'm going to do is I will show you the capabilities of this add-on by trying to match how the sim looks versus how this real photo looks. And by the way, I also have other photographs. Let me see if I can scroll here. I do have a couple of other photographs as well, so we can just keep switching between them and try to get it right. So let's start from this photo here, and let me pull up Rex Atmos. So that's the home screen that you'll be greeted with. There's three settings you guys might be aware if you've used Atmos for 2020. This is Atmos Core. Now weather, we are not going to touch that right now because I've set the custom weather up similar to my photograph here. So what we'll do is we'll first mess with the Atmos part of it, and then we'll get to the weather. And when I get to weather, I'll actually add some clouds so that we can edit the scene with the clouds in it. Okay, so let's go to Atmos. Let's just load my usual preset that I have. Let's start tuning this one. I'm not sure how to best place this so that you guys can see the horizon well and the sky well. I guess I can place it here so that you can see the horizon and sky and how things are matching up. Okay, so one of the first things that by the way, I am also running Reshade with this. I know it gets a little complex, but I'm also running Reshade with this. So when I upload my profile after this video on the community page or whatever, you might load the profile and things will look completely different because I am using Reshade with it, and I can share my Reshade settings at the end of the video as well. Okay, so let's start messing with the Atmos Core here. And can I scroll? No. Okay, well, so apparently if I just reduce the size of this window, I cannot really scroll on this. So that's one of the things that I have complaints about with Atmos Core and Atmos as well, is that the UI is just not well made. Why can I not type numbers in here and edit the values? Why can I not scroll, make the window smaller? Things like that. I have some small complaints there. Maybe let me put my image on the side here and this thing here. Okay, so atmospheric depth, let's see what that does. Okay, well, that doesn't do much. So it doesn't do much until like 333 maybe, and then it just goes all black. Okay, yeah, this is not worth messing with, I guess. And then scattering height, I believe this is how much scattering you want to have on the horizon. Let's see how that, oh well, it's not actually how much, it's actually the color of the scattering. They need to really add some information tabs. Like let's say when I hover over it, or maybe have a question mark here which I can click on it and at least tell me what this variable is actually doing. Because it says scattering height, and I hope the sim isn't getting too loud because I have traffic on, so it's all the airplanes. But anyway, it says scattering height, but then I don't know. It's not really height, it's actually color. But anyway, this one, oh, look at that. There's an airplane taking off right there. That looks cool. Anyway, so scattering height. Let's see. At least at this point, I don't see this worth messing with, because what I really want to do first is get the color right, the color of the sim right. So I don't think it is worth messing with just yet. So I'm sorry for extending this window out, but I don't really see any other solution because it doesn't let me scroll. So anyway, I think one of the most prominent difference that I see between the sim and my real image is the blueness in the sim is just not there, right? You see that there is a lot of scattering going on in the sim, but the image is just not blue enough. And by the way, if you're curious about the meta report, let me pull that up real quick. I've basically applied this to okay, so 10 plus statute miles. So yeah, 10 plus statute miles should look something like this, how it looks like in my image. It should not have this much scattering. So one of the first things I'm gonna do is enable the scattering lock for RGB, and I want to kind of reduce scattering to a point where it actually starts looking reasonable. Okay, let me also do one more thing, because it seems like the altitude is just not correct. Like the angle that I'm looking at, maybe I should be looking at it from a little bit higher. Okay, I think that's much better. Let's do this. Okay, and now let's pull up the image. Let's pull up Atmos, and then let's just blindly first adjust the amount of scattering that we want. So 0.03, 0.01, 0.02. By the way, another critique, just let me add values to this. Like, why do I have to keep sliding it around? So I think 0.02 seems like a reasonable amount of scattering, I feel, because when I move my camera around, I think this is something that, well, I don't know why that's happening. Maybe it's because my track IR is on this camera. I don't know. Let's see if it still happens. I think it's fine now. Okay. So I think the amount of scattering, we have got it right at 0.02, but the color of scattering is not right. So now that I have the amount properly tuned, I'm gonna disable the enable RGB lock for scattering, and then I'm gonna push the blues a little bit higher. So when I push the blues higher, it turns a little bit purple. So maybe I need to push the greens high too. No, that didn't work. Okay. 0.243. If I push the blues a tad more. Okay, there we go. So along with pushing the blues higher, I also need to push the red lower. Otherwise it kind of turns very bluish. But the red cannot just go to 0 as well. Yeah, this is what, like, it physically hurts me. Why can't I not just put actual values here? Just give me boxes where I can put values. That'll be much easier. It'll make it much easier to tune everything. Let's see. I think that's the kind of scene that looks at least a little bit promising. But then I don't have finer control over the reds. So I can either go 0 red, which doesn't look very good. Or maybe zero red is, no, that doesn't look good. Maybe, yeah, I think that's the best I can really do, because I'm not able to adjust it fine enough for this thing to look exactly the same as what my image looks like. Yeah, I think that's the closest I can get. I know it's a little bit purple, but there again, I can't really do much here. And global scene illumination, now we'll go to lighting setup. So if I increase that, you'll see that the exposure just comes up, while if I decrease that, well, it just goes black. If I increase that, the exposure goes up. If I decrease it, it kind of dumbs down the exposure, which I kind of like that. I like that look. So maybe we're gonna tune it to a little bit lower. Somewhere around 100,000 looks quite promising. Let me see if I can move towards this downtown view so that there's a bit more reference of how the buildings are looking like. 111. This becomes too bright. I think that looks good. Somewhere around 100,000 I think looks decent. And let's see if we can push this blue a little higher. No, it just doesn't cut it. Okay. Yeah, I think that's decent. Overall light tuning, I don't know what this does because I don't see any change. Oh, okay. Okay. So this looks pretty promising. Okay. So overall light tuning, I don't know what it's doing really, but at least the phase function part made my scene much more convincing when it's on 1. So let's keep this overall light tuning at 1, and then let's see if we can go to 0.9 on this. Is 0.9 better or is 1 better? 1 is way better. 1 is way better. Now you get this nice little blue hue, just like we have in our real photo. And by the way, that's there in all the real photos. Most of the real photos that I've taken. Yeah. You see that nice blue hue? So yeah, that's what we're trying to get, which I think we've gotten. Maybe 0.9. 1, yeah, 1 is the best. Okay. So this side is good. I think we have tuned it to, as good as it can get here. Now, particle absorption. Let's see what this does by just linking the RGB and just increasing it completely to the max and see what it does. Okay. Why does it? That's a very weird setting. I have to say, Atmos Core, like, I really like it, but then it's hard to tell. Like, it's hard to tell what a slider does from just looking at the names here. So what this is doing is it's adding more haze, or I guess more exposure to the horizon up to a point, and then it just basically looks like a hue setting. It doesn't make any sense. But anyway, let's just try to match the realism here and not get lost in the sliders. So definitely from a visibility standpoint, we should be able to see those buildings because it's not that they're not that far. So I don't want to push it too hard. Let's go to 0. Let's go to 0.01. Okay, I think I can disable the lock now and maybe push the reds a little lower. Probably too low. Okay, and then we will push the blues a tad higher. Do we need to? I don't know. I think that looks good. I think that looks good. And another thing is I'm not trying to match the ground color, remember, because for ground color I would rather use Reshade to kind of change the overall saturation and stuff to match the ground color. So you're just better off, you know, matching the horizon. I think that's the main problem that MSFS has, is that the horizon just doesn't look right. With you know, this unlimited visibility thing, it just doesn't look right. But I think we got a pretty convincing scene here. Let me know what you guys think, but I feel like we have a decent convincing scene. The only thing that's left now is enable particle scattering, RGB lock, whatever that is. So let's quickly see what this does and then mess with it and we'll be done. At least with the Atmos part. The clouds part, I think it's still left, and we'll mess with that in just a little bit. Okay, so this is particle scattering. I feel like there is a little bit of particle scattering in our real image here, but I don't want to overdo it. So I think that looks decent. And then what's particle distribution? Okay, so that just makes it more kind of polluted, I would say. So what was the original value? Okay, minus 0.83. So maybe a little bit higher on that is fine, but when you overdo it, okay, so what we are looking for here is this bright line right above the sky. You see this one here in the real world photo? That's what I'm looking at when I edit this particle distribution. Okay, yeah, I think that looks convincing enough. You have this nice white line, and then you have the scattering starting down here, and then the scattering is blue. By the way, let me turn to somewhere where there's ground right away so that we are not... Ooh, look at those airplanes. They don't look right. They're just floating around. Anyway, let's turn here. So nice white light here. Let me see if I can increase that white light at all. Okay, I think that's good enough. Nice white light here, and then blue scattering starting from the horizon here. If I push the blues just a little bit, maybe it looks even more realistic. Let's see if I can push the blues here. Yeah, it just becomes too purple. I think that's good. I think that is good. And do we need to reduce the red a bit? Let's see if we increase it. No, that's not right. I think that's good. I think that's good. I think that is decent. Okay. Let's see if we have got a good scene here. I think we do. Let me maximize it. That is perfect. I love that. For unlimited visibility day, like not unlimited, but for 10 plus statute mile visibility day, I think that looks very convincing. Very, very convincing. Okay. Now, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna set this thing to real world weather, and then I'll get back to you after setting it to real world weather, because in real world weather there are some clouds right now at Chicago. So it'll be nice to tune the weather preset with real world weather setup. Okay, so I will see you on the other side then. Okay, so here's live weather now, and immediately you see a problem that if you tune a preset for some specific weather condition, you will be thrown off when the weather changes or when the time changes or whatever, you know, you will be thrown off. Okay, so what I did was I went ahead and tuned the preset again for this cloudy weather, and now I think it looks like how I would have wanted it to look like in this weather. I don't really have a real world comparison here running a quick compare, but yeah, if you look at this photo versus this one, obviously it won't match. So we can't really match this real world with anything because I don't have a reference. I'm a VFR pilot. What we are gonna do is I'll at least show you what I've set it up to here right now. So if I go to Atmos and click on my preset, this is how I have it set right now for this cloudy weather, which I think looks pretty decent. The only thing I guess I would change is add some blue here in the particle absorption, maybe add some blue and then remove some of the red. Yeah, that looks pretty decent. Okay, so yeah, that's my preset here. I'm gonna update it, and if you go look for, I'm gonna show you the name real quick. If you go look for Airborne Geek Realistic Atmos Generic Master Realism, that's the one I've created for this partly cloudy weather. Well, partly cloudy, overcast. But overall, I think my conclusions here are that it is not very consistent, to be really honest. It is not consistent at all, because you will change and edit a preset for some weather, and then you might end up in a situation with a completely different weather meta report, and then you might have to tune all of these things again. So I don't know what's the best solution, whether you should just have different presets for different weather conditions, or I feel like that's the only solution I see here, because this looks really good for this particular weather condition, but like I showed you in clear weather, right, the scattering was way too much. And for clear weather, what would work is what we tuned initially during the video. So yeah, I'm not super impressed with the way the sliders are in the add-on. I like what it does, but I'm not impressed with the way the sliders are, the way it doesn't allow me to know what it's actually editing, because I don't have any information. It also doesn't allow me to put in actual values here. So these are the complaints that I have, but as I promised you, let me also show you my partly cloudy weather preset. Again, this is all uploaded under this name, and even the enviro is uploaded under this name. So if you just look for it here and keep the public sets on, you will find my presets. One thing I have left though is showing you the reshade settings, because these presets will only work with my reshade settings, right? You cannot use it with any other. But yeah, for the clouds, what I've done is I really had to do a lot of fiddling around to realize that nothing really helps a whole lot. So if I increase this buoyancy factor, it just basically adds this weird animation to the clouds, which I don't really like at all. So I keep that off, I keep the minimum speed off, I keep the cirrus layer off, because Active Sky already adds a cirrus layer. And sometimes I saw that even if I enable cirrus layer, it didn't really do anything. Also, this altitude number is just wrong, so I don't know what that even means. Like, are you saying that you have a cirrus cloud layer at 16,000 feet, or like what is it? I don't know what that is, right? Density, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. So anyway, I just leave that off, and then fog, I leave it to 0, because Active Sky handles that in its own way. Weather impact scale, I didn't really see this do anything at all. I tried it at different airports. Mode, I don't know what this does, it just says mode. Visual cloud enhancement, it does something sometimes, like you see the, and I think it does more when you actually have like wispy, not non-wispy clouds. So maybe I can show you guys here real quick. If I put it on Msfs weather, that might add some cumulus clouds, and then maybe I'll be able to show you that visual cloud. Look at that, right? Now we just set up the whole preset for active sky weather, but now that doesn't work for MSFS weather. It's just too blue, right? Completely blue. So this is what visual cloud enhancement does. Let me face up a little bit and show you guys. Visual cloud enhancement basically whitens the cloud and kind of blues out the shadows a little bit, and sometimes I slide it from here to here and it doesn't make any change. Sometimes it does. Like look, I'm here all the way to 107, but it hasn't changed anything, and then suddenly at 0 everything changes. So yeah, I guess you guys saw it live on how I went from being impressed with this add-on to being totally frustrated with how these sliders are working. So I still have mixed feelings about this. Like it does fix the problem of scattering and not having to look at infinite visibility when the meta report says 10 plus statute miles, but there again, like what is all this, right? I literally just tuned a preset for almost same weather, and when I switch from active sky to MSFS live weather, it just completely changes the way things look. I don't know, maybe let's go back to active sky and see if things change. Okay, so that's active sky weather now. Yeah, I guess things look decent, same as before. So yeah, you know what, actually I'll tell you, don't even bother downloading anyone else's preset. If you really want this add-on for $7, go ahead and buy it. I bought it because I like the way it handles scattering and stuff. So the only shader, or well, the only sliders that I would be really interested in tweaking is these Raleigh scattering sliders, the particle absorption and the particle scattering, and then maybe some of this global illumination stuff. But otherwise, I would say just, I don't know if you really want this. I don't know. This add-on is the one that will really, it's hard. It will really matter from, it'll change from person to person what they really want from the sim. I would say if you don't want the headache of tuning this for every specific weather condition and every specific weather injection add-on that you have, I would say just don't mess with this. And like I promised, the reshade settings are right here. So I have vibrance enabled, contrast brightness, saturation, technicolor, HDR saturation, color temperature. Sometimes I turn on hyperblur as well, but not all the time. Sometimes when I'm trying to record some scenic videos, I do turn on hyperblur. It's a nice way to add some blurriness to the lights and stuff. But yeah, in terms of settings, here are my settings. I'll just scroll. You can obviously just pause and look at the values. But these are all my reshade settings here. Okay. And hyperblur, I leave it to like 0.029 or something like that. But you can obviously just mess with this and you see how the scene changes. It can really add some nice cinematic effect to the scene in the right lighting conditions and everything. But I either keep it off or use it only during like evening times when it looks really good. That's my reshade settings. Now if you really want to set up the sim like it looks for me, sure, go ahead and copy the reshade settings and then you can obviously get these get my presets from the community presets here, but I don't think it's worth it. I honestly don't think it's worth it. Just go ahead and create your own profile and spend like 5 minutes to get your scattering right, and that's it. Don't mess with anything else. Hopefully it will work for all the weather conditions. If not, just create a new preset for like clear weather, cloudy weather, thunderstorm weather. Those are the 3 that I think I might create. But yeah, $7, is it worth it? I don't know. For me it is, because I upload videos and I want the videos to look good, so I can just do a quick tune like a 1 minute tune for any weather condition and make it look really nice on my videos. But is this the right add-on for a normal guy who's just coming from a day job and trying to just have fun on the sim? I don't think so. But let me know what you guys think about this add-on, and yeah, thank you guys for watching if you're still here, and I will see you on the next one. Bye.